Hi everyone, I am here with another paint by number video for you. So if you watched my last video, I know I said I would post updates for you as I worked through my painting. However, as you can see, I have finished the first layer of my painting without any updates. So sorry I didn't check in more often. However, I'm really happy with how this has turned out so far. So even though I didn't post any video updates specifically for this painting project, I did take a photo after each day's progress. So here's kind of how I worked through it. I just sort of started top to bottom, right to left, filling out sections as I went, trying not to paint places where I'd have to reach back over it and get paint on my hands. Although I did get some paint on my hands. I didn't make too big of a mess, however, but I think my path worked out really well, and yeah, I'm happy with how it went. I also am working on this painting as part of my 100-day project, which I've got some videos about, and I can link that below if you're interested. So I've been making little shorts, YouTube shorts for those, so if you want to see more kind of action shots of the painting, you can link those below and you can check them out. So overall, getting this far in my painting project took me probably about 10 or 11 days. I maybe did an hour or two each day, just working across, as I said, left to right, top to bottom. And the more I worked on this, I feel like the more confident I got with my brush strokes. So I feel like I started off very slow in the beginning when I was kind of up in this section, but then when I was down towards the end, I was going much faster. And also, when I started, I was using this little fine brush a lot more just because I wasn't confident in what I was doing. Like I said, I don't paint very much, so I was doing a lot of tiny, tiny, tiny little brush strokes. But then as I got farther in the process, I started using the medium-sized brush, which I find to be the easiest one to work with. Like, you can do nice, smooth strokes with it. And then I have a larger brush, too, that I use to fill in broader areas. So like the background I did a lot, I do the outline of it and then fill it in with my broad brush. Something else I found I had to do, not super frequently, but often enough that I needed to keep my tool on hand, is these brushes. I'm sure they're not the most high quality brushes in the world. They're fine for this, but the overall kit, it cost 15 bucks. So the brushes included with it aren't going to be the highest end artist brushes you can get. So every once in a while I'd have a little loose hair. So what I would do is just grab my fine scissors, and these are like super, super fine tip, but you don't really need something this fine to do this, and just trim off any loose hairs on the brush that might drag paint somewhere that you didn't want it. So another difficulty that I encountered was in this dark orange paint here. So it's like these two flowers here and this one here. This paint pot had dried out a little bit before I got to it. So when I opened it up, the paint was very tacky and hard to work with. I could still use it, but it was really, really difficult to get it to spread. So what I tried to do was water it down a little bit just with regular water, which I'm sure is not the best technique in the world, but that's all I really had on hand. However, that started to get really messy because I'd already stuck my brush in that paint pot and kind of was starting to get paint everywhere as I tried to stir more water into it. So going forward, if I were to do another paint by number kit, before I stuck my brush in any paint, I would try to make sure it was still nice and smooth. For the most part, the paints were in good shape. They, spread really smoothly, very evenly. It's just this one orange one was very, very sticky. So watch out for that. And then I think all that I've got left now is doing some touch-ups on it. So I don't know if you can see that on the video, but if you look closely, some of these lighter colored sections like this 4 here, you can still see the number through the first layer of paint I put on it. So I'm gonna have to go back with some of these lighter colors. Like I can see another 4 there. Like all the yellow ones are pretty sheer. The pink ones, the light pink maybe And then just any areas that seem like the coverage isn't as thick as I'd like it. So like some of these green leaves, or if I turn off all of my bright lights I have shining on this, I can see some of the areas of the navy in the background that aren't as full as I'd like them to be. So that's my next step, is going through and just doing touch-ups on the lighter colored sections or less full sections. And so I think I talked about this in some of my other videos, but there are some areas where you can sort of see something through it, but you can't see what the number is. So like even this dark orange, like I can tell there's a number there, but I can't quite read what it is. So that's what this was for. So if you saw my unboxing video, and I think I might have talked about this in my last video as well, this is just a paper copy of the canvas with all of the spaces drawn out with the numbers on them, so you can go back and find what number goes in what space. So like that dark orange, I can see that that's a 6 because there's a 6 right here. So, well, I actually remember what this one is because this is my paint pot that's really dried out. It's going to be forever, you know, in my brain because it was so difficult. But that's what this little sheet is for, and it's actually really handy. So I think I'm gonna start working on my touch-ups, and then I will be back to show you the finishing steps. All right, thanks for watching.